Rob Tebbutt here for Boxing News, joined by the one and only Dalton Smith. We're here in the Steel City of Sheffield at Steel City Gym, no less. How are you, Dalton? Been a little while.
Good as always. Been a while, but like I said, nothing's changed. Same old. But I'm always good.
Good to hear. We crossed paths very briefly in Mexico the day after the Canelo-Ryder fight. How was your trip there?
Enjoyed it. Experience of a lifetime, and it was great to get over there with Manny as well, and see the real Mexico. But overall, good way to start the camp, and get to some big fights as well.
Good way to start the camp, but of course before then you were with Manny Robles, who you referred to there, and doing a bit of training out in LA. How was that? How was the experience of going over there? I've just said to Junaid Bostan, who of course was your partner in crime over there, about how much I really sort of respect fighters at early stages of their careers going over and experience that new kind of culture and what have you. So how was it?
Yeah, it's good, and there's not many fighters what are willing to put themselves out there and go off their own back and learn new things. But originally I was going to go on my own. Me and Sean was going to go over, and then I just thought, Junaid was like, "Oh, when I come," so it was the right choice. He kept me company there for 2.5 weeks, but it was good working with Manny, and Manny took us under his wing like we was one of his own fighters. So big respect to Manny there, and the whole team. But it was just good to not ease myself into camp. We started our camp on the Monday. We got there on the week before and then started on the Monday. So yeah, no rest for the wicked. We jumped in at the deep end.
How was it different to being here? Obviously, you've been trained by your dad for many years, obviously kind of alongside the amateurs. Now you're over there, you're in a different gym, different voice in your head, different person holding the pads. What was that experience like?
Do you know what? It was good. And especially with the style of fighting, I seem to, click with it straight away. Supposed to like Junaid with his styles he found it a bit more difficult because he's a bit more flashy, a bit more elusive. But especially like with the inside work, Manny was great, and I learnt loads there. And like I say, it was just good to, like I say, I've always been trained by my dad. I've still travelled the world with the amateurs, but I've never done it as a professional. I've never seen the professional side of how they train in the States. I've been out to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado and stuff, but it was just good to be in the thick of it. In the ghetto of LA.
Elaborate a little bit on what you were talking about with working with Manny and how it was slightly different and working in the pocket. Cause he's very much, he's done a lot of work with the US national team as well, but he's a pro trainer, and just elaborate on the kind of the differences.
Mainly it was the the little technique drills. Does a lot with the ropes, a lot with the feet. Works a lot with the shoulders. And he's very efficient how he gets you to throw and working inside. So it was good, and I learnt a lot with Manny.
What was the spars like? I always talk to people about your faces are immediately lit up there. I always spoke to Luke Campbell about going to Miami and how it's very, very different to what we're accustomed to over here. How was that for you?
It was really good, and obviously most fighters stay professional, and sparring. What happens in the gym stays in the gym, and that's how it is. But originally when I was looking, I was trying to find the best place in America for the best sparring. We looked around, asked a few people, and Manny was the man. LA is the stompy ground for the best sparring, and we got that. Junaid, shut the fuck up. I've had enough for him for 2.5 weeks and he's still at it, prick. But no, fucking, it was good. The sparring was good, tough, and also able to get two spars in with Vergil Ortiz.
That's where I was going to go next, and I appreciate and understand the kind of the sanctity of the gym and not going into too much details. But I've got to ask you about the spars with Vergil Ortiz. Of course, one of the top welterweights in the world, got a very good fight coming up against Amanda Stanionis. How was the spar with him? What did you learn from that? Because he is right up there with one of the best welterweights in the world.
Of course, you look at his record, you look at his resume. He's one of the killers at welter, and. Originally when I went over, it was to get to spar Vergil, but we didn't know if he was going to be in camp or not, and luckily he was in camp. We got some rounds in, and we'll just say I sparred really well. But that's as far as it goes. As we're fighters, we're professional. You know, we don't speak about sparring, but you know, I sparred really well.
Just about kind of him as a fighter, I guess, without kind of delving into what happened in sparring.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think I messaged you about it is one of the things that I'm always drawn to with Vergil Ortiz is his jab. I always feel like he's got a shotgun jab. It comes out fast, it's heavy. What was it like being across from that jab, and what other things did he do well?
To be honest, you know, I was able to take the jab away from him a little bit, but overall a very good fighter. And for me, being around Vergil, you know, obviously we don't know these fighters. We just see him on TV, the fights. I was expecting him to be, you know, a mean, angry killer, typical, you know, like a Mexican. But no, he was probably the nicest kids I've ever met. You know, him and his dad was over there, very welcoming. You know, very, very respectful. And, you know, he was even, you know, took his time out to tell me a few tips, show me a few things. And it was just good watching him, you know, very professional. And, you know, even when we sparred, you know, I sat and watched him and he'd do 25, 30 rounds, just slow, constant, everything correct. And it didn't matter what time his session finished, however long it took him. You know, that's what he had to do until he's got his session done.
Yeah, even when he worked with Robert Garcia said he's, you know, one of the hardest workers that he's ever had in front of him, which is always good to hear because, again, like you kind of see him on the screen and then you don't really know. Junaid Bostan, I kind of mentioned earlier on, your partner in crime. He's probably next door now, running around in circles or whatever he does. What was it like traveling around with him for a couple of weeks' time? He said that, in his words, you did the cooking and he did the cleaning. Now, I'm not saying that he's a liar, but Sean O'Toole was also on that trip and he told me some things as well. So what was it like spending 2.5 weeks with Junaid?
To be honest, I thought it was going to be a lot worse. I think he's growing up and maturing a little bit. We definitely weren't letting him drive the car. Definitely wasn't letting him cook. So we had one job, and that was to clean up. And you know, so he had to tell him a few times, but he got it done. But I mean, overall, it was a good trip. You know, it was just good. 2 young lads being out traveling the States. You know, going to the biggest fights. You know, going to these gyms, having it out with the Mexicans, the Americans. You know, that's life, innit? That's what life's about.
Certainly is. But you're back now. You're back in the slightly less tropical climates of Sheffield as you gear up for your fight on July the 1st against Sam Maxwell. Fight that's been kind of talked about a little bit over the last 12 months or so. Must be excited to get back in there.
Yeah, very excited. And, you know, it's a fight what excites me. You know, I've asked for the fight before and, you know, we finally got it now. And I think it's going to be a great fight, you know. Respect to Sam, he's, you know, showing respect to me, but it's business, and you know, this is a fight where, you know, what excites me, and you know, I feel like I'm gonna look really good in this fight.
What did you make of your performance last time out? I've not spoke to you since the Billy Allington performance. One or two, you know, criticisms around the performance. I mean, obviously him going the distance. It's obviously difficult to kind of criticise a performance where you won pretty much every round. But what did you make of your performance? How did you assess how you did there?
Like I say it as it is. You know, weren't my best performance, but you know, I'm fighting British level fighters, and it's and I'm winning every round for 12 rounds, so I can't really complain. But obviously, it wasn't my best performance. But sometimes you can't win. You know, you can blast people out. You need the rounds. You get the rounds in. Oh, you should be blasting him out. You know, so you can't win. So you just take the positives from it. And like I said, some fights, I'm always professional, but sometimes you need that spark there. You need that, you know, something what excites you. You need the opponent to excite you a little bit, and you know, I didn't really feel that in that fight. And I only had a 4.5 5-week camp for that one, you know, because we wanted to get out pretty fast. So, you know, it wasn't my best performance, but you know, it's the first time I've heard a little bit of criticism in my career, so it's probably nice. You know, I want people to see that a little bit, give me a bit of stick. So, you know, so the next fight I can get in there and prove to them. So it's like I said, sometimes you can't win. I just take the positives from it. But like I say, sometimes you need that opponent what gives you the, you know, that fire, that hunger in your belly.
What are you expecting from Sam Maxwell? Because I feel like Sam Maxwell is somebody who will come and let his hands go. I think he's at a stage of his career where, you know, a loss to you with respect to Sam is, you know, probably more damaging to his career than, for, say, Billy Allington or Sam Mason when they lost to you. What are you expecting from Sam on the night on July the 1st?
Obviously, he's gonna come. He's gonna try and put pressure on. But to be honest, I don't know how he's gonna approach the fight. No matter whether he's gonna try and sit on the back foot, come forward. You know, but we've covered all angles for that. And you know, the only thing for me with Sam is he's very one-dimensional, very upright, quite stiff, very tense. You know, so I feel like there's going to be a lot of openings there for me. But you know, Sam's a good fighter, very experienced. But like I say, I asked for this fight 18 months ago. You know, but he vacated to box for the IBO, and like I say, we've got the fight now, and you know, I'm very excited for it.
Just going back to your gallivanting around North and Central America, Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia, it's a fight that you were at. Mentioned to Junaid about going there, and also Canelo-Ryder, two wildly different experiences, but both, you know, massive events and attractions in their own right. How did you enjoy Vegas for Davis-Garcia?
Yeah, there was two different fights, you know, compared to the Canelo and the Davis fight. But first time in Vegas, a fight, you know, that was an experience. But it was just, I knew the fight. Me and Junaid called that fight, you know, before it happened. You know, I think Tank's a very good fighter. You know, Ryan's a very good fighter, but you know, sometimes it's just the levels a little bit. But you know, it's no disrespect to Ryan. You know, he will come back again, maybe against me. But no, it's, you know, Tank's a very good fighter.
Hillsborough or MGM Grand? Where would you rather headline?
Hillsborough all day long, and then we'll go to Vegas. We'll go Vegas after that one.
Good answer. You mentioned there about Ryan Garcia. It's kind of what I was hoping that you would say. Obviously, he's moving up to 140 pounds now. I think the general feeling on the back of the fight, I mean, everyone kind of gets caught up with it in fight week, and you know, it's a heavily hyped event. But I think the general feeling after the fight was he's still got plenty of developing that he needs to do, certainly before he fights somebody of Gervonta Davis's qualities. What did you make of his performance, and what were you expecting to see from him up at 140?
You know, the fight is what I expected. You know, he was going to come out sharp, fast. Gervonta was just going to probably, you know, lead him in a little bit. And you seen that. He led him in, he got confident, boom. And then that's when Gervonta took over after that. But like I said, that just shows experience and levels. You know, maybe Ryan will get up to that level one day, but he has got a lot of, you know, learning, a lot of developing to do, as we all have as fighters. But like I say, he's still a young, good fighter. But like I said, that is a fight, you know, what excites me, and I'd be interested in, you know, in the next year or so.
And Guadalajara for Canelo, and people who have watched our interviews, and you've probably told some other people about it as well. You are a big Canelo fan. You have a dog called Canelo. It must have been great to get over there and see the great man in his homecoming. Yeah,
it was good. Obviously, it was a weird one because I'm there watching, you know, one of my idols against the fellow Brit. So it was great for me to watch Canelo, but of course I'm backing Ryder. He's a Brit. You want them to win, but you know, it was just good. It was just good to, you know, I can say now I've watched Canelo live, Guadalajara, in front of 55,000 people. You know, that'll be there. It always ticked off on my bucket list now. But you know, some atmosphere, one of the best entrances and ring walks I've been there to witness live.
Would you like to kind of go through the Ryder experience of like going into the Lions, then going and facing something? I mean, you mentioned 55,000 Mexicans all baying for blood, all booing him when he came in, all hoping against hope that Canelo would knock him out. Would something like that excite you? Would you want to kind of maybe one day experience that?
Yeah, because, you know, where we were sat, Ryder was doing the ring walk. Like, we was like next to the platform, and he was walking down. He didn't have one cheer. You know, I think he had a couple of fans next to me, like 4 or 5 people shouting for him. And then there was 55,000 just booing him. And I just thought, you know what? Imagine walking in here, then walking out as the winner. Like, that's, you know, that's what dreams are made of. Walking there, getting booed, walk out, getting cheered. But to be fair, he still got cheered when he walked out for his, you know, his great effort. And you know, he's stuck in there, very tough, but it would be good one day to go in there as the underdog. You've got the crowd booing, and you know, you walk out with a strap on your shoulder, and you can be smug about it.
Indeed. Right, before I let you go, I mentioned that about 140 pound division. We are 5 weeks, I think, away. Actually, when is? Yeah, we're no, less than that now. I'm all over the place, Dalton. I tell you, I'm going senile. 3-4 weeks, I think, away from Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez. I think 18 months ago, probably people would have looked at that as, you know, one of the best fights you could potentially make in the sport. It seems like it's a little bit different now. We've kind of Taylor on the back of Cattrall, Lopez on the back of a couple of less than flattering performances since losing to Cambosos. How do you see that fight going? Who are you backing in that one?
For me, I think Taylor. If I pick a winner, it's Taylor. The bigger guy, a bit more experience. But like you say, it's probably has put a bit of a downer on it from 18 months ago just because of the Cattrall fight. But, you know, there's still £2 for pound, one of the best fighters in the world. It's going to be a great fight. And, you know, one I'll be keeping an eye on. And, you know, I'll be watching as a fan. But for me, I think Taylor will win that fight. You know, the thing is, it's, you know, I was, you know, Teofimo being, his lifestyle being. I mean, I think you've seen that in some of his performances, but, you know, we'll see, because it's going to be a very good fight. And
Matchroom are making moves at 140 as well, which must be great for you to see.
He was out in Guadalajara and he just signed like Progress. Who's the other 140? I can't remember his name. You know, we sat eating steak with Eddie, and I says, I hope you're lining these up for me, Eddie. He says, yeah, that's my plan.
Yeah, got a good time for it. They've got Regis Prograis, Richardson Hitchens is already over there. Obviously, Prograis boxing Liam Parrow, which is, you know, not a gimme. That's a decent fight as well. There's rumours about Subriel Matias, Andy Cruz, who was he's obviously going to box at 135. But, you know, you never know. He could end up popping up.
People are going to move up. People are going to move down. You know, I think the next 18 months, some of the belts are going to be flying about a little bit. You know, once Taylor moves up. But 140 is an exciting time. You know, there's plenty in the Matchroom stable now, and that's good because it's easy to make fights. But like I said, the next 2 years for me, 18 months, it's going to be exciting.
Well, we look forward to seeing it, as we do look forward to seeing you in action on July the 1st. Dalton Smith, always a pleasure. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing News.
Always a pleasure as always. Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Sure.